and I can see now that there's you on, and Alan Louis.
Oh, I haven't got everybody else. Hold on, let me put grid for you.
That's on the participants, but the only person I can see on the screen is you.
Yeah, I can't see Alan. I can see you. I can't see anybody else. Maybe he hasn't.
I can't see me, which is quite good because I hate looking at me because my hair is awful. And,
I've been to the hairdresser. Yay!
Well, I had my hair trimmed.
Normal.
But just took a bit off the bottom, and I think it looks worse now than it did before. So
it was my colour. Hold on, I'm going to get a cushion. I'm too low. I needed my colour doing. It was awful.
Right.
Oh, that's better.
Anyway, I saw what we're making tonight.
Yes. Well, the recipe.
The filter fish and salmon.
Pardon?
The filter fish and salmon.
Teriyaki salmon and gefilte fish. Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
I made some bread today. Hello, Uncle Alan. Oh, he's muted.
You made bread?
Yeah, Andrew Nyman gave me a recipe for making bread in a Le Creuset pot in the oven.
Oh.
Yeah, I made one and it was awful, but I made it today and it was okay.
Yeah. Are you bored, Carol?
Just a touch.
I haven't resorted to baking.
Yeah, no, just bread. I made some cakes, some ginger cakes for Yontif. I don't know why, but I have. But I've made some challah and I've made some bread. So, yeah.
I mean, it's a really funny feeling because we have no idea where we will be for Yontif.
Well,
Number one, we don't know whether we can go to Leeds because, number one, because of the restrictions, and number two, because if their shul can only have 100 people there, they're going to give priority to members rather than members' families. So we might not get in. And so that's number one, and number two, so we don't know whether we'll be there or we'll be here.
Well, we're here, and I'm not doing my big Yontif that I usually do.
You're not?
Body it's off. No, well, I usually have 26 people. I'm not doing that.
No. So how many are you having if they can come?
Well, only Shelley's invited herself, but she's promised to self-isolate for a week before she comes. Otherwise, I won't let her come.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam for lunch, obviously, and Sophie. But my kids are not coming.
No.
Just not coming. No. Nobody.
It's dire, isn't it? I mean, it's just...
It's awful. It would be horrible. Horrible.
It's all horrible. I mean, you know, we were supposed to have Craig and Lou come and stay with us for 3 days. Oh, I've turned into a robot now.
Yeah.
Oh, now I can see Helen.
A headless Helen.
Hello. Oh, Helen.
I can see you now.
I don't know what's wrong with my iPad.
You not see yourself, Dana?
Sorry?
And you not see yourself yet?
No.
I can't see myself.
You can't see yourself?
No, I can see you, and I can see Dana, but I can't see me.
I can see you, but I can't see anybody else. I can only see the person who's speaking.
Have I got a head now?
Yes. When you lean forward, you haven't, but when you lean back, you have.
I think I'm going to come out and come back in again.
Hi.
Helen, I managed to change the bulletin notes for the Ladies Guild. Oh, you've moved.
Good. I don't know what happened. You know, and I did my check to LHC because I saw all the others like
it. Well, she told me to. Anyway, she's changed it. Hopefully she's changed it for this month. I always thought it was Ladies Guild. And then suddenly I was told it wasn't.
Good job that Julie knew me.
Yeah. Does she trust you though? That's the thing.
But she said okay, but you know, not again. Lost you now.
Is 11.
Hello.
Just gefilte fish. Salmon. Salty fish. Lovely.
Someone half a cup barbecue sauce, oil.
Hello.
Greek Gita's mango.
Hi, Phil.
Hello.
Hello.
Phyllis,
Yes,
your camera's off, Phyllis.
my camera is off.
Yeah, because I
Just a minute.
can't see you.
Can you see me now?
Now, yeah.
Am I on?
You're on. Phyllis,
There's that herring in the fridge, David.
Carol, can you see me now?
yes, can see you now.
Yes.
I meant to ask you, have I paid the Ladies Guild money?
Oh, I don't know. I'll check.
Can you check?
Yeah, yeah.
Not this moment,
No.
but let me know.
You know the bread recipe you gave me,
Yeah,
Andrews?
yeah,
I did it again today,
yeah.
and I added lots more flour because it was very, very wet, which it was last time. So I wonder if I've got the wrong quantity down for the flour.
Okay, we'll compare.
Okay. I added, it's fine, it's lovely, but I did have to add loads more flour.
Okay, I'll check.
Actually, we've just tasted it.
I have just made for the very first time, which I shall have shortly, moussaka. I've never made moussaka because, well, of all the nonsense having to make a bechamel sauce and everything.
Yeah.
So I've made it with some oat milk.
Oh.
So,
Who's that?
oat it.
It's
Okay.
because we're all unmuted.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
No, so.
Oh my goodness.
I think that's Dana's doing that noise.
It's because you're unmuted. If
We're all
everybody
unmuted.
that's the noise.
Hi guys,
Hello.
we're here.
Hello.
Hello.
No,
They
I
say
can
3
see
times
everybody.
is what's called in Hebrew terms a chazaka. That's it. We've got to keep doing this now. There's no backing out of this.
Suits us.
I can't see myself.
As long as you can keep going, so can we.
I can see you now.
And you?
That's good.
I can see you now.
I can't see myself.
That's good.
We can see, who can we see? Alan Louis, it's nice to see you.
Can you see?
Alan. Hi,
Can
Helen.
can you see Ophira Strauss?
I can't see
We
our
can't
face.
see you, we can hear you.
Here we go, Alfie. There we go. You should be able to click a button now. We'll be able to see you in a second.
You can see Mark.
Yay!
There we go.
Hi, Pauline.
Pauline.
Hi, with David Bashmule. Hi.
Hi. Hi, Phyllis. I can see Dana's ceiling. Looks good. Your light shades are really good. Sandra.
Like the lights.
Louise, good to have you with us. Sandy. Angie.
Hi.
Welcome
Hi, Leonie. Oh, Leonie, I didn't know your second name was iPad 5. Looking good. Offie, good to see you all the way from Stanford.
Hi, Sandra.
Must have been a long drive to get here. Hi, Rocky. Hi, Paula.
Hello.
Wow. Now we can see Dana.
18 now.
Okay. Here we're good to go. Okay. So.
I can't hold that.
Okay, we're going to put some people on mute now so that it's clearer.
Yeah, you can always unmute yourself at any time.
Okay, so we're back in the kitchen, and today it's all about fish.
Fish. Fish. Why fish?
Why not?
Jewish families always have fish, and it goes back for a long, long time. There is a favorite story. You could have heard about it. There's so many versions of it, but it starts in the Talmud of a guy called Yosef. We used to have a Yosef in the community, a Yosef. And he loved Shabbat so much that he would honor it with the finest food, whatever he could find, fish, meat, whatever it was, and he paid whatever price necessary. And because he lived in, you know, what everybody in small villages, because he was always buying the best for Shabbat, soon everybody knew that if you ever wanted to get something special for Shabbat, you needed somebody to buy it, you go to Yosef. And he got the name of Yosef Mokir. Yosef, who appreciates and made special, honored the Shabbat. So in that city where he lived, the little village, there was also a very wealthy person who was a bit of a base person, wasn't too refined. And back in those days, there was a lot of astrologers going around, and the astrologer came to him and told him, we see in the stars that all your money, all your wealth is going to fall in the hands of a Jew called Joseph. So we're telling you, be warned. Well, he didn't know what to do. He had to do something. So he had to make a plan. And one day, he came up with a tremendous idea because he was really, really frightened. How am I going to stop losing my money? And he decided he's going to take all his money, all his wealth, and he's going to sell it. And he's going to buy just one precious jewel, big jewel, and he's going to sew it in his hat. And he's going to walk around wherever he is with his hat on. It's safe. Well, that was all fine, and it went along nice until one day he was going for a walk. I don't know if it was in lockdown or not, but he was going across a bridge, and a wind blew, and off goes his hat. Splash in the water, gust of wind. He starts screaming, "Get my hat! Get my hat!" And then we get everybody running for his hat, but his hat disappeared, gone, too late. And he had people to find it. Nobody could find anything. Well, the comfort he had was at least Joseph didn't get my money. At least it went in the river. Well, late one Friday afternoon, the fishermen were working, and they caught the largest, the most beautiful fish they've ever seen, a really large fish. And they thought, it's late Friday afternoon, who's going to buy this? And they thought, oh, we'll go to Yosef. Yosef always will spend money for Shabbat. He may have bought a fish already, but if it's more beautiful, he'll buy the next one. So he went to his house and knocked on his door. He said, look, we found this beautiful fish. You want to buy it? And he looked, and it truly was a big, beautiful fish. And he heard the high price, but it's Shabbat, and Shabbat you make special. So he said, no problem, you've got a deal. And he took the money, bought the fish, and he took it into his kitchen. You know, half an hour to go. Should have seen this place half an hour ago. And he started cutting up the fish. And inside he found the precious stuff. He sold it, and he became a wealthy man. And he was able to do a lot of good and charity with it. That is from Yosef Mokir Shabbos. Yosef, during the Talmud, somebody who always made Shabbat special by always looking out for things. You go shopping, you see some nice fruit, let's get it for Shabbos. You go and see a nice, some nice flowers, let's buy them for Shabbos. Nice food. So it must be a long time since they've been buying fish for Shabbat, because this was in the Talmud's time. So we're going to start with a bit of fish, but I don't think all our fish they had in the Talmud's time, because I don't think they had this in the Talmud's time, did they?
No, I don't. I think gefilte fish is actually something that came about because of poverty. It was a way to make the fish go further. So you add a bit of matzah meal and add a bit of carrots and this and that and the other, and the fish goes a lot further and can feed the whole family with one little bit of fish. So we're going to start off with the gefilte fish. I have to admit, I do not go down to the fishmongers and get fresh fish and get it minced and do it all by hand. I buy Ruskin's fish, gefilte fish. It comes 2 loaves to a packet, which is great because you get roughly about 10 pieces out of a loaf. So there's 20 pieces from 2 loaves, and you can cook one at a time. And an even cooler thing about it is, if you can see on the bottom, they've got different recipes on here. So I'm just going to show you the basic, typical, traditional gefilte fish and water with a carrot on the top. but they actually have different ways over here that you can make it with tomato sauce and onion on the top.
So in here, just be sure, this is just a pre-minced, pre-cut, made into a roll of gefilte fish with a few additives in.
It's already got the eggs, the sugar, the mutton meal, the onions, and the ground almonds all mixed into it already. Ready to go. So all you need to do, you buy this, take it out the freezer. You don't even need to defrost it. You literally take the frozen item and you're going to put it in the dish. So,
shameless plug, you can buy this at any good, reputable Jewish kosher store, even at Kosher Pantry. Okay.
Okay, so what we start with is, I've just taken this out the freezer, and this is the fish, but of course, it needs to have the carrot on the top. So,
traditional, I'll start carroting.
If you peel the carrot for me, it's always useful to have an extra pair of hands in the kitchen. And slice the plastic open. As you can see, as I said, you have over here 2 rolls. They come in paper, and you do not unwrap them. So you can put them. You want the right size dish for it. You want it that it fits nicely inside the dish, not too much bigger. So you can do it like this. But as I make it every week, I have the perfect dish over here, and again, should be able to see it fits right inside. Now, because this is the way I make it, and it's going to go in the oven. So traditionally, when you would make it on the stove top, you'd put it in a pot with water and the carrots and the onions and boil it all up for, I don't know how many hours on end. But we're doing the quick way. So I'm just going to put it in here and
Pre-cut onion. I'm selling some of that. You can buy pre-cut onion, see? Pre-cut carrot.
So, okay, so what we have over here is we have the carrots finely diced. You want them finely diced because this is all going to cook just for 1 hour. So if I make them thin, then they will get soft. So I'm putting the carrots down on either sides of the fish roll. And then I'm going to take my water. I've written on the recipe, which we've got over here. We've got 2 cups of water. It's just over halfway up, about 3/4 of the way, between halfway and 3/4 of the way. There you go. A good inch from the top. You want to fill it with water. You don't want it to the top, it will just overflow and make a nice mess in your oven. And then you're going to add in, okay. Then you're going to add in the salt. Again, I've put the measurements about a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar. I like to do it just by sprinkling in. This is my sugar. The sugar, I put a little bit more sugar than salt. And instead of putting onion in, we cheat by using onion powder because there really isn't much space for the onion to go in. So we've got sugar, salt, onion powder, and a little sprinkle of black pepper. Voila.
Voila, all ready to go.
That is how long it takes me to make my gefilte fish for Shabbos. Okay, the only thing we need now.
Foil. We do everything here quick, but I can tell you, carrots are a very interesting ingredient because gefilte fish without a carrot on the top, like I spoke on the last Zoom, is just without its heritage. But if you ask many people, they'll tell you carrots help you see in the dark. Here's a bit of trivia. That is actually not true. That was a good bit of propaganda to be able to set the Germans off the scent when the British invented radar in the Second World War. So they told everybody, eat carrots because that's how the British pilots can see in the dark. It does have vitamin A in, but that's only if you've got a vitamin A deficiency will help you see. But generally, it's nothing to do with the price of cheese. The bracha on carrots, which is why it grows in the ground, so it's a breakfree ha'adamah, but it's in the fish. Don't worry about it. You don't have to make any extra blessing, just to make the blessing on your fish.
Okay, so now we've got the fish covered in foil. I put a piece of foil tightly around, so it's well sealed. Turn the oven on to 180 and pop it inside.
There we go.
It's now going to sit there for 1 hour, and then you'll have gefilte fish ready to go to the table. One of the ways that you know it's cooked is when you press on the roll. Now it's solid frozen. When you press on the roll, it should kind of have that rubbery feeling that it bounces back. If there's a dent, that means the mixture is soft and it hasn't cooked through, and it needs a bit longer because everyone's ovens are different. My oven is at 180. It's nice. There will be a little bit of browning on the paper on the outside, which is fine. And then I take it out the paper, and I like to leave it in a little bit of liquid till I'm going to serve it, so it keeps it nice and moist, but always make sure the dish stays covered. So that's the gefilte fish.
Would it be a good idea to put, generally, if you're putting it on a timer so you don't forget, and then it's on for 1 hour so you don't end up with what we call a burnt offering?
Great idea, because over here, anything that's not on timer becomes the burnt offering.
So there's another tip. You want to hear another idea? You put water in there. You put in how much water? You put in 2 cups of water. We actually, as a human body, is roughly made up by about 55 to about 75% of water, depending how big you are. And for us to function properly as human beings, we need water because we don't want to get dehydrated. How much water do you need? This idea of 8 cups a day, I'm not sure if it has any source to it, but it depends on how active you are, how hot it is outside, the humidity, and many other factors. But it's interesting, as you open up your Jewish books, you'll find the prophets telling everybody, whoever is thirsty, go to water. And as far as I know, they weren't doctors, the prophets. What they were telling us is that water is a parable for Torah study, to study Judaism. And it's telling us if we want to keep Jewishly hydrated, what we have to do is we have to make sure we take a daily intake of water. There's an insight into water. Okay, next on.
So that is the quick and easy way of making gefilte fish for Shabbos. But with Rosh Hashanah coming up, and Rosh Hashanah is again the time we have fish, we have the head of the fish on Rosh Hashanah, we wanted to share with you our favorite salmon recipe. It is so good. Have to say we had some fresh tonight because I took a little bit of salmon off for tonight, and then we had some for supper. And however much I make, it disappears.
And it's quick and easy.
Quick and easy. Do you want to get the fish out for us?
Yeah, we can do that.
Another interesting thing about the fish is that when it comes to meat, you have to buy it in a kosher store.
Voila.
When it comes to salmon, when it comes to fish, you can buy kosher fish, which kosher fish has fins and scales. You can buy it in a regular store.
As long as it still has on it its skin, that you can recognize it is a kosher fish. Because if a fish has on it scales, it definitely had fins. That is a law of nature. Any fish with scales always has fins. So that's why you have to leave a bit of skin on. However, if you buy in a non-kosher store, you do have a little problem because sometimes they are selling on the same counter some lobster, or even they have some non-kosher fish, whether it could be whatever the name of the non-kosher fish is, and you've got a problem because they can use the same knife. So the way to be able to get around that is?
Very simply, if you bought it at Sainsbury's over the fish counter, wherever you've gone in the market, just take your knife at home with a cold fish and scrape the edge of the fish.
Any cut edge.
Any edges that were cut, scrape with your knife, and you'll see you get a little bit of fish off, and wash that off, and you'll be able to use it.
So wash the fish off once you've scraped it, and you're good to go. with the fish.
So this fish was born in Leicester, and raised in Leicester, true Leicester product, and it's ready to be made into delicious salmon.
For the Shabbat table.
And what are we going to do? So we're going to do with this fish is now the real way to do this is to make the marinade, put it in the fridge, leave it there for at least half an hour while we sing to you. Just kidding.
You can't sing, we're indoors, we can't sing, only singing outdoors.
But I have to say that as life goes by very quickly around here, and the hour supper seems to come around faster than we realize, you can make the marinade, put it straight on, put it in the oven, and it will be good.
Tastes very good.
And the other thing that you can do is also cut it into small pieces and cook it like that, and then you can put it on top of some vegetables or some lettuce or better, and make it a salmon salad, however you want. It works. I find that it's easier to cut salmon before you've cooked it than afterwards. If you want to portion up, cut it first. Okay, so here we go. We're going to put the salmon directly onto the tray here. Okay, and we're going to mix up the marinade. Now, we've got some barbecue sauce here.
Barbecue sauce. Where does barbecue sauce come from? Which country? Which country? Come on. Barbecue sauce is American. Okay, American. Barbecue sauce was mostly around when America took its independence. They came up with a barbecue sauce. So we've got some American input over here.
Okay, teriyaki.
Teriyaki sauce. Oh, where's teriyaki from? Teriyaki sauce is none other than Chinese based. So we've got a bit of the Far East.
Teriyaki is Japanese.
Japanese, thank you, whoever said that one. Japanese. So we've got something in the East, which is not that far, okay? Not nowadays anyway.
Okay, so we've mixed up our half a cup of barbecue sauce, 2 teaspoons of teriyaki. We're going to do 3 teaspoons of oil.
2,
3. And then we're going to use Peter's Mango Premium Chutney Sauce. Now, I found out about this when we had the KLBG show over here, and I found out that this is a great sauce, and it's sold in Leicester in smaller containers. And if you can see on the side, it's even got a KLBG over there.
Yes.
Okay, and they sell it in normal size containers in normal shops. Yes. In Costco, of course, we sell it in Costco size containers, which is great for our family, but if you want a smaller jar, you can get them.
Thank you, David and Rocky, for hosting the KLBG show those few years ago. That's how long we've been using it.
Okay, so we have 1 tablespoon of that. We really like this stuff. It's quite an interesting flavor because where does chutney come from?
Chutney is, where's chutney? Chutney is Indian. So we have a really international salmon today. We've got American, we've got something which is Japanese, and we've got something which is Indian based. And it's all because we love people getting along with each other. So even our fish is being given a bit of international.
And now it's British and or British or Scottish salmon is going to be covered in everything.
Yeah.
Now, if you're marinating, something nice to do is to marinate it in some sauce, and then you can put a bit of fresh sauce on afterwards, or you can just use a bit of the sauce. Use as much as you want.
Bingo.
Make sure all the sides are covered too. Yeah, I've got a little bit left over, so this is quite a bit of sauce. This is for a nice amount of sauce for a small fish. So I just cut off. We had a big fish, and I cut off a portion for tonight. So there you go. Okay. Now the important thing with this is, when I was younger, making salmon was a whole gafaf. I can't think of any other way to put it. You had to have a kettle, it had to be sealed, it had to be this.
Don't lift up the lid. If you lift up the lid, I remember. Don't lift up the lid. It's going to go hard.
Okay, so all you have to do with this, you take a piece of foil, seal it tightly around the sides, and it's 20 minutes in the oven. Because this has a sauce on it, and also it's a nice thick piece of salmon, I sometimes find it's nicer if you take it off, then take the foil off, and 5 minutes uncovered. You know it's done if it starts to flake. So
here we go. covering it over. While we're waiting for it to be covered, here's an interesting insight about fish. Salmon, along with a few other fish, salmon swim upstream at a certain time of year because there's a scent that leads them back to the location of where they were born, their birthplace. So they swim upstream. And the reason why they do that is because to be able to continue the salmon line, to be able to continue to be reproductive, they have to swim back to where they were born, and that is where they repopulate. And this is where the cycle of life begins and ends for each of the fish species. And if you think about it, it's really interesting because it also tells us what we're meant to be doing as Jews. We have to swim against the current. Everybody's saying A, and we're doing B. Swimming upstream, and we're following the scent of our tradition. Because if we follow the scent of our tradition and go against stream, then we have continuity in the future. Very interesting lesson.
Rabbi.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the salmon going upstream?
They jump, don't they?
Oh, it's so sad. I can't tell you. Ivan and I were in Alaska and we went to one of the salmon places. It is so sad. These salmon have swum across the world virtually to go back to where they were born. It is pathetic watching them. They are so exhausted, and by the time they get there, you feel for them, these poor things, you know, and it's going up and jumping all the way. Oh, it was so sad.
It's jumping, and that's why it's called salmon. I think one of the languages, the etymology of salmon means to jump. I'm not an expert.
Really?
But it's interesting,
Really?
You can look at that as being as a very difficult time for the salmon, and it's really sad. Or you can look at it, instead of so much oi, put a bit of joy, that they're thinking about the next generation. It's not like in Judaism, we can have an oi, it's schwer zu sein, it's difficult. Terry could have done that well. Or you can have joy. Wow, so lucky. We're swimming upstream. We're going to have another child and a grandchild and a great-grandchild. So there's two ways of looking at it, two perspectives.
Well, sorry, I just wanted to ask you something. You know, before when you were saying about the fish and the kosher and scraping it, yeah. I remember when I was at home, my mother always used to salt the fish before she cooked it. Was that irrelevant? I mean, why? I don't know. But she always used to salt the fish, then wash it off and cook it.
She could have liked salty fish. It could have been preservation.
I
just wondered if it's like you were scraping it.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't know a source in Judaism for it, but it could. I mean, it could be to keep the fish fresh.
Was it pre-refrigeration being very common?
Pardon?
Was it fridges being very common? Because it could be she was putting it on because fish goes off quite quickly, and that's one of the things with the gefilte fish as well. It was a bit smelly. Yeah. So they mixed it in with stuff to take away the smell.
I mean, they always washed it off well. Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, thank you. We're one family. We always have to be able to speak and ask.
Okay, and here we're going to share with you a piece of fish, what it looks like it's done. You see it's nice and flaky. It's really soft. And all I have to do is hand this to the children and it will be gone within minutes because it is so good. And some people think of salmon can be quite dry. This really maintains its moisture and it's very soft and very tasty and a great dish for your table for Rosh Hashanah. So I hope some of you will try it, and you can always send me pictures if you do. And this is, again, it's going to be in the oven now 20 minutes. And like last time, I put a timer on. Thank God our oven does 2 timers at once. And if anyone's got any questions, please ask.
Please ask. And also, remember, if you need to any chalot or anything for Shabbat, then please, there is a recipe. Please come and order on Kosher Pantry. If you want to help delivering, a number of people offer to deliver already for our Shabbos treats. tomorrow or Friday, please just let us know. And then, most importantly, join us at 6 p.m. on Friday for another experience with some special treats, which you're going to have to keep guessing what we've got in store for you this time.
Is there any symbolism with the carrots, Rabbi?
Any symbolism with the carrot?
Why Sophia carrot? I think it was the mothers trying to get their the vegetables in. That's what I think it is.
I think it's got, the carrot has about as much symbolism as this spinach has on the salmon. It's mostly called decoration. It mostly was not from the guys. But we do it, it is very much a tradition. You have to put carrot on. So if I find anything, I'll let you know. But as far as I know, it's just to give a bit of color.
If you also think about it, a plate full of gefilte fish doesn't look that tempting. So I'm sure the orange.
Did you have the green on it?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Please, please.
When you take the gefilte fish out of the oven, do you leave it in the water, in the paper, in the water to cool?
Yeah, I do, because it's really hot when it comes out. It doesn't need to be. You're not going to damage it if you take it out straight away, but it's very, very hot to handle. So after about half an hour, when it's cooled down, that's when I would take it out the paper. There's no hard and fast rules. You can leave it in the paper till you serve it, or you can take it out. It's not going to get affected by it, as long as you cook it in the paper.
Do you leave it in the water, or do you take it out the water?
I lower the water down to just like a third of what the water was, so that it's not every time you go dish, it's not spilling everywhere, and just leave, so it's got some moisture to suck up and dry out. But it really is important to keep it covered, otherwise they seriously dry out.
Thank you.
Great question. Any other questions?
There we are.
Thanks.
So
for another fabulous evening. Thank you so much. I'll be round tomorrow.
Okay, so now we're ready. Say again?
I said I'll be round tomorrow to eat it, keeping a distance.
It should last so long.
tomorrow should be good weather, everybody. Tomorrow's good weather, and all those people shielding, get ready. You can go out tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be a nice sunny day.
Wow.
Get into people's gardens. Get together if you can.
We will.
We'll see you, and we'll see you live on Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
That's what's her name? Helen's friend, Pauline Sofa. Do you recognise her?